Here we go. At the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, here we go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Alex and Smooth Show, the #1 sports combat podcast in the world. I'm Jay Smooth, and this is the homie.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Alex. Thank you guys for checking us out. We cover current events, fight recaps, and we make our picks for the fights on the weekend.
You know it.
Dude, eventful week, a very eventful week. My daughter's born. She's just born on Friday.
Congratulations. Oh,
Thank
wait,
you.
The music's going to be playing as well, but
I know. It's all right. Get some jams in there. So, our third child, and I am done. Wow.
Yeah. You know what? Congratulations. And at that point of 3 children, you have the right to do that.
Yes, and you are up next, my dude.
Yes, I am. What, T-minus 11 weeks or so?
11 weeks. Also, your birthday's coming up. We got a lot of celebrations to do.
Yes, sir. Places to go and things to drink.
Dude, it's been an eventful weekend. And you know what? I wanted to kick it off just because some of our viewers don't know who we are. My background is graphic design. And it's weird that this weekend happens to be the 5th year anniversary for this poster I made. And it's Mayweather versus McGregor. I'm pretty sure you guys all have seen it if you're in the sports world.
Literally, yeah. I'm pretty sure everybody has seen it at this point.
Yeah, 5 years since I've made this poster. And it's kind of tripping me out because I can't believe it's already been 5 years.
Well, the crazy thing is, there's a timestamp right there. So for anybody that doesn't believe that this art piece right here didn't start the conversation and the fight actually happening, this was like a fantasy at the time. This was something that people were talking about very early on, and Alex just decided to slap some art together to see, to generate the hype, and it literally came to fruition. So we have this inside joke for us that, Alex is actually the one who started the fight.
Yeah.
But, it's just crazy to see in 5 years, like, what you've done, the accomplishments that you've had. And, congratulations, brother.
Thanks,
Keep
man.
up the good work.
Thank you, man. So to share a little bit about the poster or the background of the fight, the logo, because I had this constantly, people were saying that this was the Illuminati was behind this, and no, this is my logo. It's an A with an M and a brushstroke right across it as like the part of the A.
I don't know, bro. Your name is Alejandro. It's maybe the Illuminati.
Illuminati, which is funny because a lot of conspiracy people were just like, "Oh no, this is part of Illuminati. They're trying to take over everything," and I'm like, what is going on? But then, what's crazy, when they started putting things together, I was like, holy smokes, this actually makes sense. Look at that's the Mason, what do you call the
Freemasons?
The Freemasons logo. I was like, bro, what is going on? Like, you're making me second guess myself.
Hey, dude, subconsciously you might be in the Illuminati.
Yes, so I know, right? So the story behind the poster, this is what no one's known. I haven't even shared publicly. It's I was working with Bleacher Report at the time. I was freelancing with Bleacher Report, and I was one of their graphic designers very early on, back in 2016. And I did, when we did the deal, or whenever we talked about it, I was like, hey, I'm more of a MMA guy, more of a combat guy, more into boxing. So if you guys have any of a combat sports graphics, send them my way. But they would always give me college football and NFL stuff, and I'm like, I don't really.
This guy doesn't know much about.
I do not know much about football, so I'm like, okay. So I would just work on graphics. They would tell me what to do, and
just to name one person that he did do from the NFL of graphic design on was Deshaun Watson.
Yes, and that was one of my last football ones. So they contacted me, and I was at work. And they were like, hey, Alex, do you have time to make a Mayweather-McGregor poster? There's a rumor coming out of the camp. This is before it was actually anything. Before there was no really publicly any rumors. Everyone wanted to see the fight, but there was actually a rumor coming out of Mayweather's camp saying that, hey, this fight's going to happen or what have you. So Bleacher Report contacted me and said, hey, make this graphic and we'll pay you for it. Well, not even a minute later, they called me back. Like, hey, sorry, we already have another graphic designer who designed their posters, and theirs was the yellow, almost like the vintage style Mayweather McGregor. They were like side by side. And I was like, okay, well, in my head, I was like, oh, I just got some information. I designed the poster, which is the one you guys are seeing right now, and I posted it that evening, not thinking nothing of it. Conor McGregor the next morning, I think it was like 2 or 3 in the morning, posted it, and my phone was blowing up. Thank you. I didn't believe it. The amount of people that reached out and comment, it was weird because you got it. This was the first time I felt like, oh, that's really cool, and oh man, that's crazy. Like, you should burn in hell because you're ruining 2 sports. And I'm like, what is going on? But I have done graphics for other MMA fighters. Ronda Rousey was one of them, and it was just kind of surreal. But this popped up on my feed, and I was like, hey, 5 years since I made this poster.
This is the most like gratifying thing to see, you know, especially 5 years ahead, and the fact that it came to life. And you know, we went to the press conference,
yes,
and where Conor wore the "fuck you" suit, and it was just such an awesome experience overall. You know, something that I'll remember forever. So I appreciate being a part of this journey.
Yeah.
But this just goes to show you. I mean, we don't have a Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou poster. Nobody's at the door of Dana White kicking down that door to make that fight happen. So Dana White was going into depth, you know, on why that fight is probably not going to happen and why, you know, it shouldn't happen. And it's true. The fans were the ones that made this McGregor versus Mayweather thing happen. And that was mostly from the start of this poster. So, you know, I honestly will fight anybody who has to say otherwise. And, you know, I'm a ride or die for my boy right here.
Yes, thank you, my boy. And for the fight fans, for the hardcores, there's a couple Easter eggs from Mayweather McGregor events, I guess you would say. So the Los Angeles Convention Center, the woman holding the poster that opens up for the event in Los Angeles is my wife. And also if you check it out, Mayweather McGregor epilogue on YouTube, there's this Mayweather's talking about the fight in a press room, and the poster in there is a green background poster where both fighters had their belts. That is something I created as well for the fight. So,
in addition, if you go back to Dana White's Instagram page and you scroll all the way down back towards 2016, he was gifted a cake that had this exact image on top. And if you look down there, it had his logo as well. They didn't even edit it out or anything.
No, man. There was cakes, freaking cupcakes. It was on a billboard in Rosarito. My cousins were freaking out because they went to go party in Papa's and Beer. And they're like, dude, your poster's over here. I'm like, damn, I wish I would have got paid for that, dude.
Bro, you're international.
International. So this one kind of put me on the map for the graphics in the MMA world. But it was pretty cool. I got a gig out of it. I was one of the key artists for the UFC back in 2017. So pretty cool. Pretty cool gig. So
yeah, dude. Literally, you got a resume.
Got a little resume out of
Portfolio.
it. So got a little stuff out of it. But yeah, you know what? I just wanted to share that because it's 5 years to the day. So I was like, you know what? Let's share the story behind Mayweather McGregor and the poster, and let's see if see if we can get some traction out of that. You know?
Also, if you want to check out any further art from Alex, you can go to alexmuroart.com.
Yeah, and you will see my logo, and you can scroll all the way down, and that was the very first post.
Fact check, my boy.
Yes. So, all right, let's kick it off with some current events. Now, this is, I wouldn't say fight related, but I was like, hey, man, someone tried to take down.
There could have been technically an assault charge. So there's definitely some assault going on.
So Dave Chappelle over the weekend got, I guess they would say, attacked or tackled on stage at the
an attempted attack for sure.
So I have a little clip of it. We can share it for people that haven't seen it already, but let's go with it.
Make some noise for hip hop history. Thank God that was clumsy.
What a professional.
Yeah.
He's back there getting stomped.
As he should be.
Yeah. Look at that dude's arm.
Where did that come from? Thank you, son.
That's his son doing it.
It was a trans man.
Oh, he had to throw that joke.
Was that Will Smith?
Oh, he was like, "Is that Will Smith?"
He was waiting
I had to
a
share
couple
that.
of weeks to drop that one.
Yeah. Oh, that was a mic drop. That's all he had to say. That was pretty crazy.
Was that Will Smith?
But here's a clip of the guy with a broken hand. He must have tripped on something. 'Cause that's
oh, sure. Yeah, he tripped
Slipped
and
and fell.
Ouch.
Dang. And here's a clip of that dude right there.
Yes, sir. Well, look, he's locked in. He ain't going nowhere. Dude, what's your problem with Dave, bro?
Do you think that was like maybe the Will Smith slapping Chris Rock started this kind of thing? I wouldn't say attack towards comedians, but kind of like open the gate, like, oh, you can't be talking smack anymore.
Well, I think what it did is it opened the gate for people to run on the field. You know, and that just goes to show you who people are in general. I mean, if you look at other sports like soccer, people run on the field. Football, basketball, somebody tried to glue themselves to the court. Glue takes time to dry.
Yeah.
By the way, so the people out there amuse me, to be honest. But it is not okay to interrupt something that people paid lots of money for, even if you feel some type of way. I think that's a big thing that's going on in the comedy industry is hecklers, and people are like, interfering with the show. And that's not a good thing, man. Like, these people were out working. You don't want a heckler to come into your job and work. I mean, I know I don't want one to come into mine. I don't get paid quite enough, and I get paid pretty good. So realistically, it's not the most enjoyable thing.
Yeah.
I think it did open the floodgates, though, for people to think it's okay to try to get up on stage and cause a scene and kind of touch.
Which is kind of weird because most people in the audience are, they save their money. They want to, enjoy themselves at this comedy show. In a comedy show, I feel like that's a perfect setting to say whatever you want because those are the true feelings that people feel and sometimes hesitate to say because, they don't want to lose their jobs or whatever. But a comedian can say pretty much whatever they want.
I mean, it's simple etiquette. Sit in your chair and allow this, person to do their gig.
A bit, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it's not supposed to make you laugh. It's, it's meant to rub people the wrong way because other people will find it funny.
Yeah, definitely, man. Dude, so adding to the big weekend, there was 2 fights. Taylor versus Serrano on DAZN.
Dude, I watched this in real time and wow, bro.
What a fight, dude. I remember you were telling me like, oh, there's this boxing match and I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to check it out. And, bro, the girls delivered, man. What a weekend it was.
I'm going to get this out of the way. The fact that Jake Paul was associated and affiliated with this kind of had that stigma, that negative aura over it, at least in the type of algorithm that I see.
What do you mean? Like, clarify that for us.
So, for example, Jake Paul is not respected in the MMA community heavily. And
yeah, because he talks a lot of shit. And
he sure does. Even though he's trying to go and, get their pay raised up, I mean, he does call out the wrong people, and the way he does it is, like, very cringy. So he brings a cloud of, rain over certain things that people that respect the sports, like purists and such, don't really like him as much. I mean, I can't really speak on behalf of other people. I just feel like anytime there's a Jake Paul name attached to it, it has the asterisk or it has like an ink spot.
I think, it does, but I see it from a little bit different. I feel like he's such a great promoter. So he knows how to drive your emotions. Hate him or love him, you're going to watch his fight regardless.
Yeah, maybe I'm definitely viewing this as like from a personal aspect instead of non-emotional. Because, I don't like what the guy has to say half the time.
Yeah, it's like he says some wild shit, but it's just like you also
as
have
a
to
promoter, he's amazing.
Yeah,
sure.
he grew up on YouTube. He knows how to drive audiences. He knows what he needs to say, even though he might not mean it. But I don't know. I feel like I was on that train in the beginning, like, oh, fuck Jake Paul or whatever. But I'm kind of like, you know what? I kind of understand both sides to him because he's also trying to promote Serrano and make sure she has more than enough money to retire and grow her legacy and do great things for her. And that's another side of Jake Paul that not a lot of people get to see. You know? Are you all right?
Excuse me.
You're just
My
allergic
allergies.
allergic to the facts over here?
You're just
allergic to the facts over here?
I think I'm allergic to new babies.
So that was my take on it. I think he did pretty well driving more people to watch because he made that bet with Eddie Hearn.
Yeah.
But I guess they couldn't contractually fulfill it because I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't signed a contract anytime I make a bet with you, so I mean,
but it's not $1 million, you know.
It doesn't matter how much. Why you got to get anybody involved? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean,
especially because you got to pay taxes on that.
Yes,
so.
yes. So, well, you know.
But yes, I mean to not take away from anything from Jake Paul. I just wanted to say, you know, it seemed coming into this that I'm like, I don't know if I can take this seriously because it has a Jake Paul affiliated with it, right? But after the fact, I really had gained so much respect, one, for Jake Paul and his promoter side and how he handles everything, and then two, Amanda Serrano. I mean, I wasn't familiar with her, you know? I'm not the biggest boxing guy in the world. You know, I've definitely been an MMA guy, that's for sure. I respect the sport, and I'm learning more about it, and I'm always willing to watch. And Katie Taylor, you know, is the real deal. I mean, if you do a little research, you'll find out. So the fact that Amanda Serrano was in there, and, I mean, it was as competitive as it was, I felt it should, at the least, have been a draw.
So this is the thing. I agree with that. But there's also that saying, to be the champ, you got to beat the champ.
Yeah.
You know,
and I'm a believer of that too.
Yeah. So in that saying, I do believe Katie did enough to retain her title. But I don't understand how. Well, not that I don't understand. Maybe she got tired. Amanda Serrano, how she in the 6th round, she kind of like stopped the brakes because they looked like she was getting ready to take out Katie, like completely get her out of the fight. And I don't know if she needed just a little break in the 6th round, or maybe Katie got her second win in the fight, and that's why the momentum started shifting again. And bro, when they said like the last 30 seconds, and they just decided to throw hands and not care, I was like, oh man, what a great! It was such a great
sport needs.
Yes, it was such a great fight. For women's boxing, for actually boxing in general, because I haven't seen a fight where I'm like that emotionally invested. I was like, oh my God, this is a crazy good fight.
Right. No, it just goes to show you where the sport's at now and the level of competition. I mean, Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, awesome boxers. You know, Clarissa Shields is in that conversation.
Yeah.
These women are really good. Holly Holm was a former kickboxing champion.
Well, she came from boxing, go kickboxing, yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, there's high-quality fighters in that industry, and it was a beautiful thing to watch. I just loved how it brought a little light to these cross promotions fighting each other. These, you know, people that it just brings the sport back up. You know.
Yes, I agree with that, man.
I'm all for it. You know, it's a refreshing thing. Canelo, what he's doing is awesome. He's gaining so much weight and going up and trying to just, you know, solidify that he's the best boxer of all time.
Yep.
You know, but Tyson Fury is, Tyson Fury is definitely going to be that forever.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's good for the sport, man. It really is. So,
yeah,
congratulations, ladies. It was awesome.
It was awesome. And you had Conor McGregor tweeting about it.
Let's go tonight at Katie Taylor, making history once again. This time, the famed Madison Square Garden with you all the way, champ. Yeah, definitely. He's a supporter of her and for Ireland, and you know, hopefully they can ride together because Conor hasn't been a winner since 2016.
Well, they talked about in the ring how if they want to run the rematch, it will be in Ireland. And I'm like, dude, talk about a mega event in an arena in Ireland.
They have to have the rematch. It's like
it was such a good fight.
Yeah, it would be a shame if they did not.
Yeah. Not only that, it's if the first one delivered, you know the girls are going to deliver again in the second fight. Why not run it? It's more cash for everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Everybody's in the business of cash.
Same night, we had UFC Fight Night, Font versus Vera.
I also seen this in real time, and holy shit, dude, like the first round was awesome. Rob Font was putting the hands on Chito Vera. It almost seemed like Chito was getting overwhelmed. He was getting. It's hard to determine whether a fighter is analyzing, sitting back, and just kind of trying to process, or
I was just thinking,
are they actually being overwhelmed? And the look that I seen from Chito a couple of times was he was getting hit and it hurt, and it was stinging, and he was kind of like, oh shit, this is real. But throughout the fight, he continued to progress back, man. And Chito Vera became a straight gangster.
Dude, not only that, when he landed the knees, I was like, oh, momentum shifting big time. And there was a moment in the fight, I don't know if it was the last round, but he did a spinning kick to Font's face.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that one?
Yes.
And I was like, oh, dude, it's game, set, match. It was, I felt bad for Font because did you see his after photo? It was,
oh, yeah.
It was all lumped up. But, I mean, congratulations, Chito Vera, man. What a performance that was.
Yes, sir. I mean, straight gangster once again. I can't reiterate it enough. At the end of the day, you bounced back from adversity, and you proved that you can take these top contenders and you can survive. You know, Chito Vera, I wish you the best, bro.
Yes, man. So those were the fights that happened this past weekend. Let's go into some current events. These are some of the events that happened this week.
So MMA Uncensored tweeted, Cain Velasquez has an emergency bail hearing tomorrow in California. His family and friends are hopeful he will be released and go home. Hashtag free Cain. An emergency bail. What would grant them the right to request an emergency bail? I don't know the process. Something's going on where a judge is, you know, at least going to allow the opportunity to be spoken. So hopefully he does get released. I mean, he's not a threat to the community, and he's not a threat to leave.
No, I don't think he's a threat to the community. I mean, obviously we all know what happened. It's a shame, dude, that his I don't know how to call it, not his opponent, but the other guy, the other one. The victim, quote unquote, got bail.
Oh, okay, yeah,
not the victim, but
the person who was
being accused.
Assaulted,
Yeah. That's a very tough one, man. As a father, I'm like, you know what? It doesn't make any sense how the other guy got bail and Cain, out of emotion, did what any father would do. So.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer at sometimes the law is black and white in a world of color. And they only will refer to what's in the rule book, and instead of applying discretion to scenarios. Discretion is a real thing in life, and we can't ignore that in the eyes of the law. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But with that being said, you know, they have... This is just me being devil's advocate. They have laws that state that you can murder a fleeing felon if, in fact, they've committed a felony and are, you know, and a potential danger to society. So you as a citizen, you know, like you're doing your thing or whatever, somebody gets shot right next to you, and you have a concealed carry or whatever, and you eliminate the threat. By law, you did what the law required, but you then took the life of another person. So it's quite interesting how we can justify one thing over another to help people sleep at night. It just it's interesting, and I really, without like getting too much into it, you know, I just feel like the law doesn't allow you to kind of uphold the law. It only requires the police and such to uphold the law. But we're expected to abide by it, but we can't enforce it.
Yeah.
Quite amusing.
Yeah. I don't know much we don't know much about the trial, but it's just it's tough. It's a tough situation.
Yeah, from the little bit that I know, it's just a lot of people say they would do what he did, you know, and I sure hope I would be half the man that Cain is.
I mean, when your kid's here, bro, I'm telling you, that's a different mindset. So, yeah, you know, we don't want to get dark on the podcast, but that was one of the current events, and that's something that's going to be announced tomorrow, so we just wanted to cover it.
I mean, but we can spice it up a little bit with this next one.
Yeah, so Colby Covington's photo got released. He's missing a tooth, and this was per George Masvidal's lawyer. What do you think?
This is an interesting experience because, you know, there's a lot of media that shows like that from what I've seen on the internet that Colby Covington, one, doesn't want his name to be used per Marcy law. He doesn't want any photos to be shown or released. And then the next day, here comes, you know, this photo, which I'm glad got released because he for sure got his tooth chipped by George Masvidal. Other than that, I mean, he looks like, you know, just like he got maybe a suntan from being out in Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look like he got too much damage. So, I don't know. I'm glad we got to see a little bit of what happened. There is an accusation that Colby Covington sustained a brain injury from this attack.
What?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, how can you legitimately prove that when you're a, combat sports fighter?
Oh, yeah.
I think it was maybe an out that was provided, or like an option, I should say. I don't know too much about it. We're just here to discuss, and honestly, this is the great thing about having a podcast is this is our show, and we can say what we want. And if you don't like it, you could drop a comment below, and we can have a discussion. And we love interactions.
Yes, we do. Well, on this topic, there's been, I would call it categories this section where it's a lot of fighters calling each other out. Gilbert Burns dropped some eye emojis, like eyeing Gamebred. And George responded, "Sounds good to me. Let's see." I like it. I don't see why not. Run it.
It's like in the eyes of the division, it's definitely the fight to be had.
It's a fun fight for the fans.
But I don't know. I don't like this for George.
Why?
I don't know. I think Gilbert Burns needs a win really bad.
Well, Gilbert
and the
won,
style that he has, I think it matches up pretty well.
Even though that he lost to Khamzat recently, this is a fast track for George Masvidal to get back into championship talks.
It's definitely the opportunity.
So
but if I'm being honest with you, I feel like Gilbert is the better striker. Gilbert is the better wrestler. And overall, I think Gilbert is the more skilled fighter.
Yeah, but I think, who is it? George just signed a, 6-fight contract? So he has to start fighting these big fights because
he has to start winning. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's been known to do it. He goes on hot streaks, and he'll get 3 or 4 wins under the belt before he takes another loss. But
yeah.
I don't like the style matchup, if I'm being frank.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think it's fan favorite. I think both. I don't think Gilbert would want to wrestle. I think they would both want to strike. And
of course, but once George starts getting, touched a little bit, he might want to try to shoot and see how Gilbert's gonna be on the ground, and I don't think that's just a good idea.
Yeah.
And here's another. Here's another fight that I would say the styles just don't match up.
What?
Khamzat Chimaev versus Nate Diaz is in talks. Khamzat tweeted, "Let's fight skinny" at Nate Diaz. And I honestly feel that this is going to be an easy night for my boy, Khamzat Chimaev.
Really? You think it's going to be an easy night, huh?
Absolutely. I think the striking is going to be amazing. They're going to go back and forth. But I think Nate Diaz is at this point in his career where he is a volume fighter, not a power striker. And I feel like Khamzat is still young in the game. The chin is there, has not been hurt.
He got rocked in his last fight with Gilbert. The thing is, because of his high output, he was getting tired, where Nate gets better as the rounds go on.
He does get better, but he doesn't get stronger.
No, he doesn't, but there will be openings for Nate Diaz to fight in the clinch or go to the ground. Now, let's say Khamzat's like, oh, no, Khamzat's going to take him down, right?
Yeah.
Nate Diaz is a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So he's, there's not a lot of danger down there for him.
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't seen Nate on the ground since the Conor fight. But I don't know. I just don't like the style matchup for me. I feel like he's way too young and way too hungry, and Nate is way too frustrated with his current state at the UFC. This would be the last fight that, is going on. I feel like it's just they're not to call Nate Diaz a tomato can, but I feel like it's just right now it just is not the right fight to make. Just not.
I think the opposite, man. I think it's a perfect fight because it's what's going to drive eyes, what's going to make if it is Nate Diaz's last fight, who do you want to give essentially shift some of that superstar power to that already has his mega train?
The only fight that Nate Diaz needs to have, and that makes sense, is Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is not going to go back down to 55. He's going to fight at 170. Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor need to resolve this.
But Nate doesn't even want that fight.
I know he doesn't, but what I'm saying is if this is the last fight that you're going to have, and you want to talk about the most potential money to be made, the biggest hype, and for the UFC, they want to pass on that. They want to lift up Conor McGregor. They need to build his brand again, unfortunately. And why not serve him up a Nate Diaz, a frustrated person who is on his last fight and is coming off some losses?
I beg to differ, man, because Nate has such huge star power where Khamzat is just getting a taste of that. You want to put that over the top, and if he beats Nate Diaz, that potentially sets up a fight with Khamzat versus Conor.
I do like that angle.
You
I
know
will give you that. That's definitely an option as well. I'm not opposed to it. I'm really not opposed to it. And if that fight happens, I'm definitely tuning in.
Yes.
Just personally, I'm saying like that's the fight that I believe has to be resolved. The UFC makes really good money on trilogies. DC Stipe. John Jones and DC never got to that point because my boy John won twice. I just had to throw that out there. But there's trilogies. Max and
Brandon Moreno versus Figueroa. Max.
Exactly. Yeah. Max and Volkanovski, which
just got announced.
We'll get into. Yep. So at the end of the day, the trilogies, there's a lot of money to be made. I don't see who is bigger than that. So I say put them two together. Conor McGregor will probably win that fight. Allow him to get that win back, kind of get the momentum going for him, because there's still some juice to be made out of Conor. And although I'm not the biggest fan of how he carries himself, personally speaking, he is a gold mine for a business.
Yes, he is. I agree with that. All right, let's keep it moving. Dana White on Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou.
So Dana says, that fight's definitely not a lock. Fucking waste of time, energy, and money. I don't know. It's silly, but I get it. Everybody wants to try to. I don't know. I don't even know.
I feel like he's kind of, since Francis Ngannou's out of his contract and did not re-sign, and since he is waiting the year in his contract, essentially giving UFC first dibs.
The option
to get him back.
To offer.
I don't think Francis is going to want to do that because he wants the most money possible. I think this is kind of like, you know what? You don't want my help? I'm going to not put a lot of shine-light on it. What do you call it? Limelight.
Limelight, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think Dana White has taken the approach of you're trying to utilize leverage over me, and I'm Dana motherfucking White, and I'm not about to allow
it comes across like that,
though. But
I don't know
there's no other way for it to. Francis Ngannou is trying to utilize his services in the manner that is best financially suitable for him. Dana White is not going to allow somebody like Francis Ngannou, who is an employee of his, to use leverage over himself and a company. That's not how you get to be a boss like Dana White. You don't allow leverage. And so sometimes you just allow people to fizzle out and disappear. I mean, I almost felt like that was going to happen to John Jones. And if that fight against Stipe does not happen, I'm almost certain John Jones will never fight again, ever. And it's sad because it's a leverage play.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to kind of hold your own and die on your shield if you want to prove to the world that you have the most leverage. Now, if we're talking technically, if like we're talking about financially, you got to make that fight happen. You get with Francis, you sit him down, you pay him a little more than you should, you get all the money from the Tyson Fury fight, because I'll read this right now about what Dana says about boxing salaries. But Dana White was not a fan of this fight happening because he thinks Francis is going to get hurt from Tyson. Either way, it's the same amount of money, whether it's 3 seconds in the fight or, the whole 12 rounds or 10 rounds or whatever it's going to be. Take advantage of that. UFC needs the money. Always could utilize more. Dana White could always use more. Take advantage of that. Just don't allow him to have that much leverage over you, Because at the end of the day, Francis wants to fight. He wants the money. He'll get it done. He will sign. It's not going to be with the UFC boxing gloves. It's not going to be, as lucrative as Francis would like, but it's probably the most money he'll ever make, for sure.
Yeah. All right, what does Dana White say on the boxing salaries?
One of the big problems with boxing, too, is that all those fucking guys are overpaid. And every time they put on a fight, it's a going out of business sale. We're just trying to get as much fucking money as we can from you guys, and then we're out of here. We'll see you in 3 years. You can't build a league like that. You can't build a sport. You have 750 fighters under contract making money, feeding their families every year. With that kind of mentality, it doesn't work. You have to run a business.
I kind of agree with him on this one. I kind of do.
Like I said, bro, it's a leverage thing. It really is.
Yeah, only the top boxers, Canelo's, I won't even say Triple G because he does get paid pretty well. But, I mean, other than the top, I don't know, let's say 5 fighters I can think of off the top of my head, Tyson Fury, Canelo, Mayweather, I'm trying to think of another high-paid boxer that's
Ryan Garcia.
right. Ooh, he's actually still young in this game, but I mean, he's kind of young, but he's very popular. So there's not that many boxers that make a crazy amount of money.
Right, because I don't see like Earl Spence rolling in the dough or Terrence Crawford rolling in the dough. I don't really see it.
Like, don't get me wrong, they make
like
money, but not like to the point where it's like, all once you get all these belts, like you're making all equivalent type of money, you know?
When you get to a certain point in your life where you're making hundreds of millions, unfortunately, people know your business, and it's just out there. And I'm unfortunately not aware of how much they make, so I can assume safely that they're not like the top paid boxers in the world. And if they are, they deserve to be. They honestly deserve to be.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily agree that the boxers are overpaid. I think you're paid exactly what you agree.
Yeah.
That's how you show your value, is because, you're basically slapping the price tag on you. Once you agree to that, that's the price tag.
Yeah.
And, of course, it's supposed to increase. You never settle for less unless you're at a certain point where your services ain't quite what you have to offer. But with that being said, I do like how Dana White said it is a going out of cell business. What they do is they literally try to take, all the juice out of the lemon, and sometimes it does seem like it is a going out of cell. Like, hey, this is all we got, take it or leave it.
Yeah. Well, let's continue. They have another cross-promotion fight. They've been going back and forth. Kamaru Usman and Canelo have been going back and forth this week for some reason.
This definitely ain't going to happen, but we'll definitely entertain it. Yeah. So, Usman says, let's just all relax before somebody gets hurt. And Canelo responded, I agree, because it won't be me. Ooh. And Usman responded with, in the cage or in the ring? I'm willing to find out in both. Are you? And Canelo said, you're calling me out, right? You want the payday, right? So you know where. But sit down. It's not your turn yet. I got a legacy to make.
Damn, Canelo. I agree with what he said, and you know what? This is what's funny, because I see a lot of purist boxer fans, saying like, oh, MMA fans, either striking ain't shit, or not MMA fans, MMA fighters.
The striking's not the same.
Not the same. Mm-hmm. I mean, but let's be real, man. You put two fighters, it doesn't matter if you're in boxing or MMA, in a room, and this person has more tools, who's coming out of that room alive? You know what I'm saying?
Well, essentially, if you're a striker, how do you practice striking? By boxing. So you utilize a lot of the training techniques and the methods and stuff. But you're not mastering it because you're taking time out your day to utilize the other tools in the belt. So with that being said, Canelo is going to stand his ground and say, where, when, whenever, come to the ring. But Usman needs to understand that when you're fighting such a pure boxer like Canelo, the output, you can't match that output. You just can't match the output. And Canelo is going up in weight. He's continuing to get stronger. So realistically, I don't like this fight for Usman.
I don't either, man.
I think it's cool. It's entertain that option. Once again, try to make as much money as you can. That's what you're going to work for. But I wouldn't like this fight for Usman at all.
Yeah, Canelo has already seen every punch possible that you could throw, every angle. Like, he's practiced that so many times a day, and it's one aspect of fighting, right? So he's only fighting with his hands. So, and especially at his level, he has already perfected every movement that needs to be done to be, world champion.
I mean, go back and watch the YouTube highlights on how Canelo's head movement is. Dude misses punches. I mean, he dodges them. So, I don't think. Well, I'm not going to take anything away from Kamaru Usman's striking. No. He is a striker.
He is improving, but that's good pound striking for MMA, because you also have to be aware of all the other attacks that could come along with it. Your takedowns, leg kicks. You have to learn how to block them. So it's different type of striking.
Right, because the output would be way different if, in fact, you didn't have to worry about the takedowns or kicks or whatever the case may be. If you're definitely just throwing the hands. Some of these UFC fights end up just being striking matches. I mean, Calvin Kattar and Max Holloway.
Yeah.
Perfect example. They want to talk about who's the best boxer in the UFC. It sure isn't Kamaru Usman, I'll tell you that. But he's definitely an amazing striker, and I think he is pound for pound one of the best. it's just very difficult for me to find the interest in this fight like 5 years ago when we had the interest in the Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah. It's different because you knew what Mayweather and McGregor was. You know, it was entertainment value. You know, it was just an event. Yes, I was going for Conor, but I was like, you know what, I'm the MMA guy. I'm going to pull for Conor. But realistically, if I'm putting my house or if I'm putting my car or you know, something of value, like, of course I'm going with the pure boxer because your guys are boxing.
Let's even be more honest. Conor McGregor had more of a chance to be a better boxer than I believe Kamaru Usman has a chance to be a boxer. I think Conor McGregor has the more technical skills in striking. He's just better fit for boxing.
He just didn't have the endurance.
He didn't have the endurance. Yeah, I feel like he could have definitely put it on Floyd Mayweather a little more. And I also do believe that Floyd Mayweather could have probably turned it up a little more too.
Oh,
I mean, he was dialed way down.
Oh, he was dialed way down, and you could tell he was like, you know what, down on your daddy, you're gonna get tired, which he did. Everyone knew. I was like, dude, if it goes past 4 rounds, it's game, set, match. We're about to see someone get KO'd here.
Oh, for sure.
And yeah, Mayweather did it perfect, and he did get the TKO on the 10th round.
Maybe because you're not promoting the Kamaru Usman Canelo fight or the Tyson Fury and Gunn fight. Maybe that's why these fights haven't happened, bro. I mean, history says you have to make an art poster for these things to happen.
You know what? Maybe.
I'm just doing simple math, bro.
Maybe I will. I have to see. There has to be more. I don't know. Yeah. It was different because when Mayweather McGregor happened, it was something so far out there where it was like, you know what? You both have the best trash talkers in both divisions. You knew that this was going to sell. The money fight, quote unquote, slogan was what I started on the poster.
Yes.
And it was just something where I'm like, you knew what it was. You knew it wasn't serious. It wasn't a real serious boxing fight, I guess you would say. And it was more in an event. You wanted to see these two worlds collide, and it was such a perfect storm for that to happen.
Yeah.
Two of the biggest names in their sports,
right?
And it was weird. It had a different aura. Canelo and Usman does not have the same aura. Canelo's on his own, doing his own thing, and Usman's doing his own thing. Now, granted, if Usman starts going up a weight class, starts snatching other belts, and dominating those divisions like Canelo's doing, then we have something. You know, does that make sense? Like,
yeah,
I feel like
100%. No, it yeah, because at the end of the day, what Canelo's doing is belt snatching. And if Usman can replicate the same in his sport, he can say, hey, man, like, I'm doing the same things you're doing, and this is all boring for me. I'm coming for yours now, you know?
Yeah. So,
but I felt like what they did was they saw a formula to generate interest, and so they took advantage of it.
Yeah.
And it unfortunately can create the fizzle effect. You know, right now, Kamaru Usman is pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world. Canelo is pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world in his sport. And yet it does not have the same oomph as when Conor and Floyd were both the pound for pound best fighters in their sport. So it just goes to show you, you know, at the end of the day, you can't replicate a certain formula if, in fact, you don't have the right ingredients.
Now, I'll finish with this one. But Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou is more intriguing because they're heavyweights. One punch could finish a fight. There's that aura about it with Francis Ngannou. He could land that one punch and maybe get the TKO against Tyson Fury. Is it highly likely? Probably not, but there's that one thing around it, like, you know what, they're heavyweights, anything can happen in a fight.
Right.
But when they're at the same low, I feel like lower level, it's more about skill, I guess you would say. When they were lower weight classes, that's what I mean when I mean lower levels. When they're lower weight classes, it's more skill. There's, you know, and then Canelo has, dude, his KO power in boxing,
it's phenomenal.
It's phenomenal. So yeah, there's a definitely different auras about that. So, all right, man.
I'll watch it if it happens, but
yeah,
I'm not gonna knock on your door to make a poster.
Well, you know what? If I make one, we'll see if it happens. All right.
Well, you got this much time in your day anyway. So
yeah. Well, let's go into some fight announcements. These are some of the fights that got announced over the week, and there's a ton. UFC 275 poster got released.
It's very interesting.
Very interesting. But I am definitely pumped to see Zhang versus Joanna 2. Talk about a female fight of, I mean, I could say
a lifetime.
Of a lifetime, the decade. It was phenomenal, man. It was great. It was,
And especially now where they're both at in their career, and the fact that they both have to get a win in order to stay on track to get back to that belt. This is the fight to make. I think it should have happened a lot earlier, but at the end of the day, I'll take it when I get it.
Exactly. Then what? Co-main event, Shevchenko versus Santos. I do believe Shevchenko is going to get another win.
I mean, it's almost guaranteed money.
Yeah, I don't want to write off Santos, but you know, it's kind of like the same
I'll
thing.
do it.
The same thing with Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunez when everyone was kind of writing her off.
I mean, bro, didn't you see Shevchenko in the UFC movie?
No,
I
have.
The Halle Berry movie? Bro, she's gonna win.
No, I'm just saying. Shevchenko's a mega favorite in this fight. So
Big time.
And then Glover Teixeira versus what is it? Jara Prochaska?
Prochaska.
I think I'm saying it right.
And that's who I'm going with in that fight.
Yep. It's gonna be an interesting fight.
I'm glad Teixeira, got the gold, was able to get to the top and reach the pinnacle in his career. At the age of 43, if I'm not mistaken, 44 maybe at this point. Once again, I want to reiterate, I'm happy for him, but I think it's just one of those things. Game. Yeah, it's a young man's game, and I think, Prochaska has that style where that flying knee or the elbow or whatever the case may be is just gonna, end the night.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it moving. Kevin Holland versus 10 Means.
This is a good fight.
Ooh, bro. I'm excited to see Kevin Holland back, man.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the Holland train. Shoot, chugga-lugga. I'm on it.
All right, then next up, UFC 276, Munoz versus Sean. Oh, mother-loving Mally.
Finally, a ranked opponent.
Bro, that one's going to be exciting. It's going to be a crazy event. On that same night, it finally got announced today. Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway 3. UFC 276 in Las Vegas.
This is the third fight, as well as the third motherfucking attempt to get this fight to happen. It's having the Tony Khabib kind of feeling going on here, and I don't like it. And I really hope that they can both make it to the octagon.
Oh, man. I really hope Max. Nothing against Alex, man. I feel like he's proven himself, but, man, those first two fights.
I will be honest, and this is going to be a hot fucking take right now, okay? I love Max Holloway, but after that last fight, man, that Alex Volkanovski had, it just changed the way I look at him, man.
Oh, with Korean Zombie?
Yeah, dude. It changed the way I look at him. Because he's gotten better and better and better, and he's active. And I feel like at this point, it's kind of hard to deny the greatness when he's proven it over and over again.
Well, Max has done the same thing.
Absolutely. So that's why the point I'm getting to is, of course, I'm going to go with Max. I want Max to win, and I'm going to pick Max to win. I'm scared. I'm scared as a Max fan that this is going to be the last time that they fight and that Max is going to walk away not the winner. I'm scared. I didn't say I believe it's going to happen. I'm just afraid.
Yeah. Because you could see that happen because it happened twice before. But you know what?
And those times I felt robbed. But I just have a feeling if Volkanovski wins this time, it's going to be...
It's like the nail in the coffin.
It's going to be like there's going to be no other way to deny it.
You think he should win by knockout, and that's like the nail in the coffin? Be like, you know what? Those other two were not a fluke. This is...
A knockout or even a submission, I think that's the nail in the coffin.
I think so,
if it's
too.
another decision, Jesus Christ, bro.
But July 2nd, we're in for a fun pay-per-view, dude.
July, the whole entire month of July, I'm in for a ride.
Yes. Also, on that card that got announced is Brian God, I'm going to butcher his last name. Barberena versus Robbie Lawler, bro.
Yeah, this is an exciting fight. Two big strikers.
Yes. I'm excited to see Robbie Lawler come back. We have not seen him in a while.
Yeah, since Ben Askren, right? I'm not mistaken. Maybe
I want to say he fought one more after.
Yeah, he took another fight after that. Either way, he doesn't fight as often as he used to, which we were used to. He would be on 3 different cards in a year. It seems like he doesn't fight too much often, and it's kind of sad because it's just a reiteration of where the sport is and how long he's been fighting. I mean, he's in the class of the Nate Diaz's and the Knicks and the, I can go on for days, but I'm a little too tired. But anyways, I do like that fight for Robbie Lawler. I think he has the potential to win, and I'm going to pick him.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. All right, next up, Cody Garbrandt versus Ronnie. Oh God, bro, Ronnie
Yeah.
July 9th. I believe this is just a fight night right here. And he is, Cody Garbrandt is going back up to bantamweight for this one.
Talk about a must-win situation.
Yes. Yes.
Must win.
And I'm pulling for Cody Garbrandt, but this is it right here. You have to get a dub on this one.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Cody, and I'm going to ride with him, but I will not lie. This is a must-win scenario.
Yes. All right, what do we have next?
We got Curtis Blaydes versus Tom Aspinall on July 23rd. That is 3 days before the due date of my child. I will probably be at the hospital watching it.
Baby's going to come on that day, man.
Well,
watch.
Hopefully a little earlier in the day. That way I can watch the live.
Yes. Watch it live.
I mean, everybody's going to be resting and chilling, so I mean, what else am I supposed to do?
Pop in the pay-per-view on the top. Be like, all right.
I can't get caught sleeping on the sofa. You know, I didn't give birth to the baby, so I got to stay up and watch the fights.
Well, on that same card is Hermansen versus Till.
I think that's going to be the low-key fight of the night. I do believe that it has the potential to even be fight of the year. Darren Till hasn't fought in a while.
Yeah, he hasn't.
He needs to come back and make a statement. Jack Hermansen is an amazing striker. He's even a grappler, if I'm not mistaken. So at the end of the day, that's a good fight to be had, and I think it's the fight of the night for sure.
For sure, man. Dude, this one's kind of far out. Am I saying it? Gan versus Tai Tuivasa?
Wow, dude, this fight. I'm glad they made this fight.
Winner
of this fight, well, okay, if Cyril Gane wins, he has the potential to be the #1 contender, and if Tai Tuivasa wins, he definitely gets a title shot.
Yeah, or he fights. I wonder if they're gonna make this as interim heavyweight belt.
I hope not. I hope not.
I think not, right?
No, yeah, I hope not. I think you have to build Gane back up again.
The winner of this fights the winner of Jones versus Stipe. For the interim heavyweight belt.
I like that. A year ago, we would not have been having this conversation.
No.
Cyril Gane, Tai Tuivasa, John Jones, Stipe.
Bro, can you imagine if Tai Tuivasa wins and John Jones wins? What kind of event that's going to be?
That's going to be big time,
That's going to be big time.
Big time. And the thing is that, in an old world, I would want to see John take a shoey with Tai. But now in today's day and age, I don't want to see John around any alcohol. Yeah. So, I hope that they don't try to get him to do a shoey with Tai. That would be like the worst because you guys would all be some enablers at this point. But I just had to, bro.
You had to, man.
I'm a comedian. This is my stage. I'm working.
All right, don't get Will Smith now. All right, let's keep it moving to so those were the fight announcements. Let's go into the fights that are happening this weekend. We have two big fights. Canelo versus Bivol on the Zone pay-per-view.
Some would say this may be Canelo's toughest chance to date.
I believe so, man. I honestly, truly believe this is a tall order for Canelo. Not saying that he can't get the win, but have you seen Bivol's record? Have you seen his record?
I think I've seen him fight maybe like once or twice, so I'm not as familiar with Bivol as I should be, especially with the fight going on this weekend. But there's got to be something that Canelo and his team see in Bivol to be able to pick that fight. Because, there's got to be calculated decisions going into this.
Well, Canelo, I believe he already has the WBO light heavyweight championship belt. He's going after the WBA light heavyweight belt during this one.
I know he's trying to be Thanos.
But he has, Bivol has defended his title, I want to say 12 times already. And look, he's undefeated.
He is undefeated. Once again, I just want to reiterate, I don't really know too much about boxing. But it seems like it's not too big a name fighters that he's fought against, although I don't know. So, with that being said, please don't come for my head. A lot of unanimous decisions. It definitely goes
recently,
it goes a lot of 12 rounds. Prior to that, he was TKOing dudes. So, I want to see a knockout. I want to see a knockout from somebody. I wouldn't mind if it's Canelo. But if Bivol's going to win, I want to see him knock out Canelo Alvarez. Solidify that you're the reason why, you're the right guy, and there's a reason why you're there.
This is a dangerous fight for Canelo, man. The more I kept on reading about it, initially I was like, oh, another easy fight for Canelo. He's going to win. But reading into Bivov's record, I was like, wait a minute. Canelo's fought, I think, once in light heavyweight or second. He only fought once or twice. And he's going against someone who's undefeated in light heavyweight.
Yeah, it's scary, bro. I mean, especially, his 20th fight. Bivol has a chance to really make a name here off Canelo Alvarez.
Mega name, dude.
I like this fight, man. This is really intriguing.
Yes, it is. That will be this Saturday, May 7th. So tune in for that one, man.
I will be tuned in.
That one's going to be exciting. Also, they're going up against UFC 274, Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje, and Rose Namajunas versus Carla Esparza 2.
This is honestly the fight card of the year so far. I'm so excited for these fights. To lead it off with the, prelims, the UFC Fight Pass, we will go to the biggest name in the game that's on there. That's going to be Tracy Cortez versus Melissa Gatto.
I'm pulling for Tracy on this one. You can't say nothing else.
Well, I got a couple things to say. I am okay with you going with Tracy. It's kind of hard not to, right? I'm going to take one look, right? At the end of the day, I don't blame you. But like I was saying on the phone a little earlier, I just have a feeling, man, like the tide has changed. And I'm going with Melissa Gatto. I just got a feeling, man. Plus, she's an underdog, so can make some money.
Yeah. Well, Melissa Gatto is undefeated with 2 draws. Tracy Cortez is undefeated in the UFC. And you know what? I just feel she has, I don't know. You know what? It's going to be an interesting fight to see. Maybe I'm going for Tracy because she's more known. She's more publicly out there, I guess you would say, because of her and her relationship with Brian Ortega. But you know what? Her wrestling is, I wonder if that's going to be the key factor that gets her the victory against Melissa Gatto, because Melissa knocks out girls. So,
well, this is the thing, once again, to reiterate, she does have a relationship with Brian Ortega. I'm certain her grappling has improved.
Oh, absolutely.
So I can see where she's definitely improved and has the potential to, win on the ground. Her wrestling's really good, and I'm pretty sure her submissions are even better now. But like you said, Gatto has been knocking chicks out, and she's undefeated. So that is the type of fighter that you want to go up against, and you want to prove yourself, right? So if she gets it done, Cortez is going to be the real deal, and she's going to be somebody, to look out for. But I myself, I am afraid I don't have that gut feeling to tell me to go with her.
I do.
To go for God.
I do. I'm going for her. So
hey, no, I feel it.
I'm pulling for her, man.
I'm just for myself.
All right, man. Well, dude, there's a ton of fights that, this whole card is stacked, man. Brandon, God, I'm going to butcher all these last names. Royval versus Matt Schnell.
So I've actually seen Matt Schnell fight a couple times, and he's a plus 195 underdog. So that's quite interesting. I thought it'd be a little more close. But Royval is a striker, man. Dude can fight. So I'm picking Brandon Royval.
Yeah, I think so too. But there's a ton of fights. Chaos Williams versus Randy Brown. That one's gonna be an exciting one too.
That one is.
Chaos Williams is the underdog. You know what? I would probably pick him if I was betting on it. But I'm excited to see that fight.
You could you're really not gonna make much either way. But definitely, I've seen pretty much every single name on that lineup fight, so I'm excited for the prelims, and either way, it's always nice to see people fight.
Yes, and the pay-per-view is going to start off awesome. That you already know it's going to be there's going to be a bonus in the first fight. Donald Cerrone versus Joe Lozon, and I believe they're at their 99th bonus. The UFC has given out 99 bonuses. I think that was talked about on here. Yeah. So far,
in the year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, in general, Jesus, that's it.
Yeah, it could
Stingy.
But Donald Cerrone versus Joe Lozon. This one hurts to the core because I'm such a fan of Donald Cerrone and Joe Lozon. But I feel like Donald Cerrone has lost his last 5-6 fights.
Too many.
Yeah. And it's hard to, if we're betting, it's hard to pick him. Now, granted, I am a Donald Cerrone fan, but it's just hard to pick him against Joe Lozon.
And I actually feel the complete opposite. I mean, when I watched the press conference, I seen a Cowboy that is more motivated than ever. And, I've been following Cowboy for a really long time because I love the dude, man. He's just like one of the most... He's a legend, dude. Yeah, he's just one of the most awesome guys to just sit there and listen and watch speak. You could tell he's a different guy. When he first was, having his first son, you could start to see the tide and the momentum change, but he was still going through those losing streaks. And then it got to a point where he got matched up against a Conor McGregor who, of course the UFC is going to push for Conor to win, and it just seemed like it was a matchup that should not have happened, but we all wanted to see it.
Yeah, even Donald said that he did not want to be in there. Like that night of the fight, he was like, dude, I don't want to be out there. On the biggest fight of his card. Did you see that recently?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's not the Cowboy that's showing up this weekend. I feel like this Cowboy wants to be there. He wants to show his son, like he said, what he does for work. And, when I saw that, man, it just made me want to cry because I'm like, I'd love for my son to see what I do for work. I'll be slanging jackpots, boy.
Yeah, it's you know what? It's hard. This is a tough one to pick because I'm a fan of both of them, so it's like a toss up in the air.
Right.
Let's talk about the next fight: Shogun Rua versus OSP.
Now, this fight right here, I think, is the best fight to make in the division because both guys are at a certain point in their career where they've had, a whole bunch of fights. They've won, they've lost, they've, been towards the top of the division, they've been towards the bottom. And where my heart goes is going to be with OSP.
You go with OSP?
Yeah.
I'm picking Shogun on this one. I feel like he has been winning lately. He has been improving. Granted, he's not going to go up against the John Jones, but he did lose to OSP before, early in OSP's career. So I don't know if OSP is because he did get knocked out his last two fights. So this is kind of where it's like, is OSP getting caught too easily, or was those just flukes? And he's getting Shogun again to get back on the train, I guess, so get back on the tracks of winning again. So
yeah, definitely. I think these are, it's the fight to be made because they're at the tail end of their career, and it's kind of just putting a bow on the present.
We'll see. All right, man. Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson, bro. Michael Chandler is, I want to say, the biggest favorite on the card. He's a minus 410 going up against Tony Ferguson.
As he should be. Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. What are you going to say?
So, I got a couple things.
Tony Ferguson going to look at you and be like, yo, I signed your picture, bro.
I know, man, dude. And when I shook his hand, I never felt a hand bigger than this guy's. Blew my mind. But I will say this. Michael Chandler is solidifying himself as one of the better fighters, of all time. He fought in Bellator. He's won the belt. He came over towards the end of his career, and he's testing himself against the best of the best in the UFC. He's been able to compete at a high level, and although he hasn't had the success, he's gained my respect.
Yeah.
The fight style here concerns me for Tony Ferguson because we've all seen Tony Ferguson fight. He will eat a punch. He'll eat a punch to get you to come in closer. He'll eat a punch to get you in the clinch. He'll eat a punch to get you down to try to darce you. He will do what he has to do to get it to his advantage.
Like he'll take one to give one, pretty much.
Exactly. Yeah. But the thing is that I don't think you can take one of Michael Chandler's punches, maybe one, but not 100 of them, And Chandler has the output. He has the potential to be able to close the distance, get in there, and boom, boom, get back out. He's quick. He's nifty. And, he's already fought Justin Gaethje. He's already fought Charles Oliveira. You know what I mean? So
and Dan Hooker.
And these are all, like some killers. So Tony Ferguson is not on the winning streak that you would need to take out a Michael Chandler. Just my opinion.
All right, so playing devil's advocate, the way I see it, if Michael Chandler wins, it's going to be early in the rounds. If Tony Ferguson somehow gets to avoid the rush or the power,
initial onslaught.
Yeah, the initial onslaught. I feel like if Tony Ferguson is able to get Chandler up against the cage, or if it goes on the ground, The elbows. The only thing I don't know. I have a weird feeling. I mean, if it's gonna get stopped, it could get stopped doctor stoppage because those elbows slice up everybody. We cannot forget all those opponents that he sliced up with those elbows. 100%. Granted, he is. I mean, in the MMA world, he's a little bit longer in the tooth. He's becoming a veteran, and yes, he has lost recently quite a bit. But I feel like it's Michael Chandler kind of up and comer versus Tony Ferguson is still he's still top rank. That's the only thing. It's kind of tough to say to write him off already.
Right. Well, check this angle out. So there was a tweet from Khabib that I read, or Instagram post a little earlier, that Khabib said, Tony Ferguson, you've had 4 regime changes in just as many years. At a certain point, you got to stop blaming, other people and take a look in the mirror. Tony Ferguson has always been a character. And
wait, that was Conor.
Excuse me, Conor.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. At the end of the day, Tony Ferguson has always expressed himself as being this type of fighter where, the way he views himself. He views himself as like, champion, top of the world, best fighter ever. And the results or the reality of it is that it's not quite up to that same par. I do like Tony Ferguson personally. I was a big fan of like how he, the whole angle and approach and stuff. But now I'm at a point where you haven't proven it, and it's been so long of a time that I hopped off that train, if that makes sense, I feel like I now view the way Tony talks about himself and the way he handles himself, I view it as a person who might not have a grasp on the actual perception of who he is as a fighter and where they may be at that time.
That's interesting.
That's just my spiel.
Well, getting back to the fight parts, Michael Chandler and Justin Gaethje had one of the best fights ever. Justin Gaethje and Tony Ferguson fought. Justin Gaethje was able to put him away. I wouldn't say put him away. I believe they stopped in the corner because Tony was just taking too many punches. Now, I was kind of just thinking right now, I'm like, wait a minute. Michael Chandler couldn't put out Justin Gaethje. And I just feel like, you know what? I don't think he's going to put away Tony Ferguson. I mean,
he might not.
He might not. I don't think he
But
might.
even if it goes to a decision, I don't see Tony. The only way I see Tony winning is by those nasty, vicious cuts that it may be a doctor stoppage. Like you saying, like I do. When you talked about the elbows and the clenching and stuff, I'm like, that's a really good angle that I see maybe
going in his
very
favor.
Important. Yeah, very important in this fight. But I just have a problem with how long he is in the tooth, and it's very hard for me to kind of ride on that train when I don't have anything to kind of like incentivize me otherwise.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, Michael Chandler is a huge favorite in this fight, and it's not to how would you say
diminish.
Diminish. Tony Ferguson, but
there's a reason why the odds are so separate, and it's unfortunate because we would like for Tony to be a closer of a betting favorite, because I mean, if you're gonna if you're picking him, you want him to be you want it to be like this if you're picking him and you're betting. You know what I mean? But as a fan, it kind of personally hurts to see Tony not being as respected. But then again, I'm also viewing it as like I understand why. I can literally see why.
Well, let's keep it moving with co-main event. Rose Namajunas versus Carla Esparza. This is their second fight. Yes. Carla Esparza has a win over Rose. I'm pulling for Rose to win, but this is the thing. This fight, it's a flip of a coin. Mm-hmm. I have no idea who's going to win. Obviously, Rose has improved so much since their first fight. This is going to be a completely different fight. Yeah. But Carla Esparza as well has improved from their first fight. Her wrestling is like top notch in women's in the women's division. So it's a tough one. Striker versus wrestler again.
Carla's been able to maintain her presence at the top of the division.
Yes.
The entire time. Rose Namajunas has bounced back from adversity, has overcome the adversity, and has actually achieved the gold. Where Rose is at in her career, I think it's her time. You know? And I think no matter what Carlos Esparza does, Rose is just going to be the person that has the answer to everything. I just feel Rose is at a point now where she has the skills and the confidence and the momentum to continue to retain her belt and build that legacy.
Yeah. I'm super excited for this fight. I want to see if Rose can stop the takedowns. I want to see what she learned from the first fight. I'm just excited. This is just an exciting fight for Rose to what's it saying? Correct the wrong or correct that
right the wrong
or get that one back. That's what I'm saying.
Get that one back. Yeah.
So
and to just sprinkle some little fairy dust on top of it, Carlos Esparza is getting married a week after this fight, so it's very interesting to see, is she going to show up to her wedding with some black eyes and some cuts?
Oh, talk about the incentive to win even more, bro.
Right, and she knew the date of her wedding prior to accepting this fight. She accepted the fight knowing the wedding was a week after. So she has every incentive to win this fight and every incentive to get it to the ground and wrap up Rose and not get touched.
Now, dude, this fight has so much writing on it. It's such a long history in the because they both came from Ultimate Fighter. They both got their their I guess stardom from there. It's a crazy storyline, and talk about adding a little bit more incentive to Carlos Esparza to get the win, man.
I'm telling you, it's a little
getting married and to get that belt while you're getting married. That's gonna be crazy. So, I'm excited for both girls. I want to see this fight. I'm super pumped for it. I mean, if this was just the main event, I would be like, I'm set.
100%. They could have main evented this card. For
easy. But let's go on to the main event: Charles Oliveira versus Justin freaking Gaethje.
This is the fight of the century. Seriously, the fight of the century. I have a good friend that me and him were discussing a little earlier, and then Alex called, and we were all three talking about it. Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje. This is the most intriguing fight of the entire card, in my opinion, because is Gaethje going to have the skill to knock out Oliveira and get it done? Is Oliveira going to be able to withstand the
flurry,
the onslaught, the flurry, the overwhelming energy of Justin Gaethje? And, how is Oliveira going to win? This is massive for the division because it solidifies, is Oliveira really the champ, or is this belt going to continue to be in flux? I think he has proven himself as the real champ. When he beat Dustin Poirier, that story was already there. Like, hey, is he the real champ? No, you got to go through Dustin Poirier because he was the unwritten the unspoken champ. Champ. But let's be real here. That Dustin Poirier that showed up that night, something was off, man.
You think so?
I think so.
Dude, he actually took got the knockdown on Charles Oliveira. He knocked him down in the first round. Almost had him out. Charles Oliveira had to overcome adversity. Now, they both fought Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier put on a freaking striking clinic on Justin Gaethje, though. That's the only thing where I'm like, dude, Charles Oliveira could get this win, but Justin Gaethje, there's like no quitting him. Now, I'm excited because, and this is another thing, I'm going for Justin Gaethje, so is he going to get the better of Charles Oliveira in the first round? Because Charles Oliveira, for some freaking reason, always in the first round goes through some adversity. He's always going through some hill, and then in the second round, he just corrects it and improves on it. So I'm wondering if Justin Gaethje is able to get him out in the first round.
Yeah. The reference I like to make is, if you were to order so basically, Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson is Walmart, and Charles Oliveira versus Gaethje is Target. I feel Target has a little bit better product and is a little bit more fine-tuned and a little more of a nicer brand, right? I feel like Tony Ferguson is the diluted version of Charles Oliveira. They both get knocked down super early. They both will eat a punch in order to get to the positions that they like.
Bro, you're about to get lit up in the comments.
I sure hope so. Look, the only difference is that Ferguson has no quit, and Oliveira has proven to have some quit in him, and he's shown that he will tap. Ferguson is willing to just bleed to death in there, but I just feel like they're similar fight styles. Chandler and Gaethje, Oliveira, Tony, I feel like it's the Wish version. Tony Ferguson Charles Oliveira is what Tony Ferguson wish he could be.
Wow, man. That's an interesting take on
Oliveira
him. The
became
Target
champion.
and Walmart.
He became champion. He was the interim. Ryan became. He defended it and solidified it. So Tony Ferguson never got to do that.
What are you talking about? He was former champ.
Who, Tony?
Yeah, Tony Ferguson.
Well, okay, but I'm saying, well, whatever. I'm a little tired, maybe a little high. It's been a while. I'm just saying it. Well, to me, I just feel like the type of fighter that Oliveira is. I feel like, I don't know, Ferguson just wishes he was that complete. You know what I'm saying?
All right, that was your take on it, bro. I cannot wait to see the comments.
Run it.
That was interesting.
I am a what have you done for me lately kind of guy, as you can see.
You're like, what have you done for me last month, bro?
Seriously.
Oh shoot, man. Well, dude, let's wrap it up. We want to thank you guys for hanging out with us for the full hour plus.
We haven't done that in a while.
Exactly, man. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. This is the end of the episode, and we just want to say that we love you guys. All right.
You get the wrong one. It's supposed to be the collapse.
Oh. Later, guys.
Until
Peace.
next time.
At the top